I'm live. All right. Let me go bring up my screen on my desktop here. All right, say we're gonna finish this bag. Here we go. All right, let me adjust this a little bit. All right, I think that's pretty good. Alrighty, so this is part 5, and it should be the last part to finishing this bag. Hold on, let me adjust the volume on my computer here. There we go, that helps. Okay, so anyhow, here is what we have. We have an almost finished bag. Again, this is the pattern we're working on. It is the Swoon Maisie bowler handbag. This one is a difficulty rating of 4 out of 4. That's how they rate their bag difficulty levels. So I was actually a little hesitant to try it because it's kind of intimidating. But now that I'm almost finished with it, I don't really think it's that bad. It all comes down to what types of materials you're using. The vinyl is going to make it a little more difficult, especially if you have a more entry-level machine, because it's not going to have a strong enough motor to get through multiple layers of vinyl. So if you're not sure that it's going to be able to do that, you can use some sort of fabric, like more traditional, like a woven fabric instead of a vinyl, and I think that would be a lot easier and not as advanced that way. So anyway, I'm gonna set this aside because today we are going to be making our handles. So there are 2 of them. One is optional. One is going to be the shoulder strap, which is, yep, this one, the longer of the 2. This is the shoulder strap. As you can see, I started a little bit of the process. And then the other piece that you would have cut is the 2 handles. You make them as one, and then when you're finished, we're going to cut it in half, and then you have 2 handles. And then with vinyl, when you fold it like this, it's going to end up being like 4 layers plus folding it over, so it ends up being 8 layers of vinyl, and almost no sewing machine is going to be able to get through that, at least not very well. So I'm going to be installing rivets instead. So I will show you those. I'll talk a little bit about them. They are great, and I'll talk about the different ways of installing them, and I will show you that later. So let me set these aside so I don't lose them. Okay, and then also the shoulder strap attaches with these swivel clips. These are 1.5 inches wide right here, and then it's just like a lobster clasp type of mechanism. So yeah, I have a link in the description below the video that has some of that hardware where you can buy it. There's a lot of sources though. I actually have a Google Doc I need to share. There's just so many sources. So anyway, so to make the shoulder strap and the handle, they're both made the exact same way. So I'll show you on the handle, which I have not started yet. You take the middle, and if you're using fabric, you are going to fold it in half like this and then press it to make a crease. Now, of course, this is vinyl. We don't iron that because it's going to melt. So your alternatives would be to just kind of eyeball it, or you can take some sort of marking pen, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be a disappearing one because this is on the inside, you're never going to see it. So let me show you what I do. Let me get my ruler really quick. Alright, so this is a rotary cutting ruler. It's often used for quilting. So this is what I like to use. So you can see it a little bit from where we're at. So this piece is 4 inches wide. There we go. So it's 4 inches wide right here. So that means we have to draw a line down the center at the 2-inch mark. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So there we go. And there's our line. So I'm going to get this ruler out of the way. And then the next step is tricky, and you're going to need some tools and stuff, like clips and things. So I'm going to actually set the handles aside and show you on the shoulder strap. So as you can see here, we had the line down the center, then you fold over the insides to meet in the center, and you can see mine's not perfect, but there we go. And then you fold it again. So what happens here is that the two raw edges of the vinyl are hidden on the inside, so therefore when you're finished with this, it will not be visible. All right, and since this vinyl doesn't fold and stay folded on its own, you're gonna have to use some sort of clips. So we're gonna get out my favorite Wonder clips here. You can use these, or do I have binder clips anywhere? Oh, well, you can use binder clips. Hopefully you know what those are. If you worked in an office, you definitely know. Or these are like spring clamps, and I got these at Harbor Freight. So you have a lot of options. They all do the same job. And actually, I have found that if they sell a similar product in, say, a hardware store, it's going to be almost always a lot cheaper than it is in, say, like a craft or a fabric store. So kind of shady, I know, but that's what it is. As long as you know that, you can work around it. A good example, let me grab my pincushion here. So this is like a magnetic pincushion, and this is at the fabric store. This would be, I think it's around $12. So this same exact product, oh, I was looking for this. The same exact product in a hardware store like Harbor Freight is called a parts holder. So it's got a magnet under here, which makes it stick to a metal surface, and then also metal things stick to it. As you can see, my pins are securely on here. It's like $3 at Harbor Freight. It's the same product. I looked. Same thing. So yeah, mine's from Harbor Freight, and my husband shops there a lot, so a lot of times he gets these free with a coupon. So I have a couple of them. So just an example of that. Make sure that if it looks like it could be used for, you know, like home improvement or construction or whatever, check a hardware store before you fork over way too much money. Okay, so back to the actual sewing here. So I have put several clips along here. Don't leave them on too long because they can leave permanent marks. So these have been here for a week, and they actually have left a little bit of an indentation. So yeah, don't do that. The other thing we need to do is prepare our machine. Let me pull the camera a little closer. We need to prepare our machine for stitching with vinyl because it's a smooth surface, but as you can see, it does not glide along plastic at all. So there's a couple options. What I do is I trace that and just cut it out, and it just goes right around it, just like that. And actually, let me get some tape really quick because that tape doesn't stick anymore. So I just use a piece of this common blue painter's tape, which again is something that if they sell it for crafters, it's going to be way more money. And this is just from Walmart. So there you go. I just attach it with painter's tape, and I make sure that it's not covering the feed dogs in any way. And then for me, I found that using a walking foot gives me the best results and prevents the vinyl from sticking to the presser foot. Some people have good results with a roller foot or what's called a Teflon foot because it doesn't stick. Unfortunately, maybe I just bought a crummy Teflon foot, but it didn't work at all. So this is what works for me. Just figure out what works for you and use that. So we're going to have a nice long stitch length. I'm using a 4 millimeter stitch length for this, and that should work just fine. All right, and then what we need to do is sew along the edges here. And if you're following along, we are on page 13 of the instructions. All right. And let me just refresh my memory here. Trying to find where it says where it is. Okay, 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Okay, so we're going to go 1/8 of an inch from the edge, and we're going to do it along the fold also, just to make it look nice and uniform and all flat. So I'm going to do that. There we go. And then I'm just kind of holding it up a little bit so it doesn't drag. And then you can see here it's working just fine. At the start of the seam, it was not moving so well, but once that was out of the way, it was fine. I do apologize in advance. My bobbin thread's going to run out any second now. I would have wound an extra. See, there's the warning light. I would have wound an extra, but I didn't have any empty bobbins. This wasn't folded exactly right here. All right, so we've got the first seam done. Okay, so here it is. And then again, we're gonna sew along this edge so it's all nice and flat and it looks nice. Hopefully I have enough bobbin thread in here. Oh, hi Angela. Yeah, my machine is on a raised surface. It's a wooden riser my husband made for me. He actually sells them on Etsy. If you look up Matt's Woodworking Shop. I use it because you can probably see that I'm standing to sew. That's something I recently started doing because it's funny that sitting was hurting my back and my shoulders. And this seems to help with that. Stick in a little bit. My bobbin ran out. It did not. Oh, you're welcome. What I've found also is I am in a really humid climate. I'm in Florida, which, oh my gosh. Florida has lots of positive characteristics and qualities, but this oppressive humidity is not one of them. I mean, some people like it, good for them, but oh my gosh. So I find that sometimes the humidity makes the surface even more sticky. Oh man, my bobbin ran out. Are you kidding me? Ah. All right. That's one of those universally relatable things amongst people who sew. You finish a long seam and then you realize that your bobbin ran out. Okay. So, quick detour here. Oops, I cut it. All right, let's quickly get this new bobbin wound. Then to make it even more interesting, my spool of thread is also running low. See, who says sewing isn't exciting? Oops. All right, let me grab my scissors here. All right. All right, well, hopefully the rest of you are in regions that have more temperate weather than I do right now. I've mentioned before I'm on a sun porch type of thing. It's all enclosed, but it's not insulated. Oh shoot, there goes my thread. So it's it gets a little toasty out here. There we go. All right, so hopefully this thread is a slightly different. It's not even the same brand, so hopefully it blends in. All right. What I was using was Gutermann brand, and it's the kind that it's polyester. It was from Joann's, and someone I follow on Instagram. Her name is, I think it's Christine or Christina. Anyway, her business is Rock Baby Scissors, and she recommended this particular thread. It's also Gutermann. Oh wow, except it's so long I can't put this thing on. Alright, so I'm going to have to find my spool pin really quickly. Some machines will have this extra little piece. I think it's this. Yeah. Where you can use vertical spools. I don't think I have, at least I don't think I've ever used this. If I have, it was many, many years ago, so. All right. I think it's a slightly darker red than the bobbin, but it's not too bad. And again, finished is better than perfect. All right, so let's figure out where we left off here. There it is, and finish our seam. Wow. It is really noisy. And then I ran off the edge there. Grr. All right, so let me get all these little threads snipped off. I thought actually about doing the handles off camera and just showing it to you because it's the same process to do the shoulder strap, but then I just decided that maybe somebody wants to see the whole process, and if you don't, don't have to watch, so there you go. Alrighty, so I am going to install this hardware on here. Basically when you do that, you can just kind of look at both sides, and if there's a side that you like better that you want on the outside, you could do that, but also since this is a swivel clip, both sides are going to be visible, so in this case it doesn't really matter, so I'm just going to pick one randomly. Alright, so in the instructions they tell you to fold this under a 1/2 inch press, and then fold again 3/4 of an inch and press. So we can't do that on vinyl, it's too thick, and we can't press vinyl. So I'm just eyeballing an inch and folding it under like that. So it'll end up being about the same amount that I'm folding it over. Just, I'm not doubling it. So they do have, if you don't want to get really fancy, they do have products like strap ends and other things like that, but I don't need to be fancy. All right, so here's what you do. First, you need to punch a hole, and let me show you what I use for that. It's over here. I'll be right back. Okay. And here's yet another example of, they actually call it the pink tax, where if it's designed for a traditionally female hobby, it costs more. So this is a leather punch from Harbor Freight. It was $7. I've had it for a couple of years now and it works great. The printing's starting to wear off right there, but it doesn't matter because I can visually see which one of these I want to use. On this side, there is a little Phillips screw here that you loosen, and then this rotates, so then you can choose which one of these hole sizes that you want. I'm using 3/32 of an inch, and that's what I use for when I make my felt masks, and that's what I'm gonna use for this. Some people use a product in the scrapbooking section called a crocodile, but it's $30. So I don't understand why anyone would use that unless they enjoy overpaying for things. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm just centering this. I'm eyeballing it. If you're not comfortable with that, you could like measure or mark something, but to me it's good enough. All right, so that is pretty thick. I'm hoping that my rivets are going to be long enough. And oh, it's not looking like they are. Nope, they don't go through. All right, so this is a good time to talk about the rivets in general. Let me just clip this together real quick. So there are a lot of different types of rivets. If you buy a larger quantity online, they're gonna be cheaper, but if you're just starting out, they have them at Joann's. But most of them look like this. It's either like a single cap or double cap. The double cap means that they look good on both sides. So this one is a double cap, so we have, it looks nice here. Here's the post that goes through the fabric. And then this is the cap. So they would eventually go together like this, the fabric in the middle, and you pound it with either a special tool or a press or whatever. And I'll get into that too. And then it's, as long as you did it correctly and pounded it hard enough, it'll be permanent, it won't come off. So, I have some other options here. All right. These ones in here are single cap. Let me find the cap portion. So, and then this post obviously comes in different lengths. This one's a little longer, and then different colors too. So this is a single cap. Here's the post. Here is the single cap. The other side of the post, unlike the previous one, does not have a cap. So this kind of just gets flattened out and it doesn't look as nice. So if you're installing this, like say on a pair of jeans, if you look at the jeans that you're currently wearing, if you're wearing those, if you look on the inside of the rivet, it probably looks like this on the inside of the jeans because no one's looking at that and it doesn't matter. And those are probably cheaper as well. So, and then here are some other styles. Oops. This is another single cap, but this one has this little kind of, I don't know, it's got like a little bump on it. And then here's the post. And then of course it's a black finish. Then we have something that's not even a rivet at all. And this is called a Chicago screw. I don't know why, but that's what it's called. And it's fairly self-explanatory. One side is smooth. The other side has a little flathead, whatever that's called on it. And then these screw together. Like, see, this is hollow, this is not. So you put it in there and you screw it together. And I think what people usually do is use some like Loctite adhesive so this doesn't come unscrewed. So I actually have not used these yet, and I may end up doing so today if I don't find some long enough rivets in the silver color that matches the rest of my hardware. So we're gonna look here. Now I have 2 handles and a shoulder strap, so each of those things needs 2 rivets, so I need a total of 6, and I may not have enough. Yeah, I might just only have 5. Alright, bummer. Alright, so I'm going to set these aside. Just gonna put them up here. Oh, and by the way, if you can, yeah, you can see them. That is also from Harbor Freight. Don't buy these at the craft store just because they're pink or blue or whatever, because you're gonna pay significantly more money. That was from Harbor Freight. It was, I don't know, probably 20 bucks or something. Way cheaper. But anyhow, there's a lot of places online to get rivets. I started getting mine from Cam Snaps, and I've mentioned them before. They sell like that. It's like a resin plastic type of snap. All right. Now these, you can see it's thicker, so I'm going to need a larger hole. But let me just see if these are going to be thick enough. Oops. Oh, these aren't thick enough or long enough on the posts either. All right, and then let me check here. These were the rivets I was going to be using before I realized I didn't have enough of them. I only have 3. So I think I'm going to improvise. Now, since the back side of the handle won't be visible, really, I think I'm going to use the single cap rivets that I have for those, and then for the handle, that's going to be more visible. I'll use these double cap rivets for that. All right. And then again, these are the ones I got from Camp Snaps. I really like them a lot. And plus they sell a snap press, which is expensive. So, you know, I wouldn't necessarily recommend getting one of those unless you know for sure you're going to be using it a lot. Because I think it was like $100 shipped or something like that, or maybe 80. So it's kind of a lot of money. All right. See, that's not really getting through too well. Another thing you can do, especially with vinyl, is it would have been easier to do this beforehand, but I'm going to try to just kind of cut a chunk out of the inner portion of this. See if I can cut it out. Alright, I think I got it. Alright, let's try that again. Oh shoot, I cut a little bit of the outside too. But it appears to have worked. Okay. Alright, so let me push this stuff out of the way. And I am going to show you how to use the snap press. And rivet press, obviously, does both. Alright. This sucker is huge. I haven't used it in a while. I literally had to dust it off before I started my video today. Alright, let's see. I gotta try to move the camera here. There we go. Okay, now you can see it. And there are probably other videos on YouTube on how to use this thing, so if you didn't quite catch on by watching this, there's other videos on YouTube and they might even be better than mine. Alright, so this is these presses have dies on them, so this one has the rivet die on it, so that's already done. And so then you set one side of the rivet, make sure it's all the way in that little thing, otherwise your rivet will be crooked. And then the same thing with the top, so it's all set and everything. Now, if you're not like some sort of superhero and need some more leverage, I, and I'm one of those people, I actually usually use this on the floor so I have more leverage, but then I would have to set up the camera again, so. See what I mean? I don't, if I was standing on a stool, it'd probably be easier, but I don't want to go run off camera again. All right. I think that was good enough. Okay. All right, so there you go. You can see it looks the same on both sides because, again, this is a double cap rivet. So we're going to do the other side now. And now this one, you want to make sure it's all symmetrical. So we want this inside on the same side of the strap. So I'm going to put this on. Got some thread I need to cut off. Okay. All right, and then we're going to fold it over and then match these two up to make sure it's the same distance. Then again, we are going to punch a hole, make sure it's centered. All right, and then squeeze. And there we go. So there's our little hole. And then just like before, I'm gonna kind of cut out some of this inner layer here so my rivets fit better. I should mention though, I've never done this particular thing before, so I don't necessarily know if it's like gonna hold up or anything. So I'm not technically suggesting it, but I'm doing it anyway. All right, there we go. Okay, now I gotta get my post. Okay, so that needs to go through all these layers of vinyl. And then I need the cap. Oops, that's not a whole cap, that's just a little piece of one. All right, there we go. All right, so we're gonna squeeze it all together like this. And then same as before, make sure everything's all centered. And then push really hard. All right. All right, that seems good. All right, so we have a strap. Yay! All right, and then we grab the bag, and this is pretty self-explanatory. You just grab the little D-ring that you put on and hook it on here. Yay, we have a strap, but we still need our handles, so we're gonna make those now. Let me get this press out of the way. Yeah, those suckers are really heavy. All right. All right, so back to our long handle piece. Actually, I'm gonna get my wonder clips back so I can put this together as I go. All right. So we are folding in these long edges to meet that line that we drew, and then folding that whole thing over, just like that. And I'm going to use a lot of clips and continue on the whole length of the handle. All right. I was thinking about which bag I would do a video on next. Having said that though, it might be a little while because I know I've mentioned before, Halloween is the busiest time of year for me and my business, because the majority of what I make are Halloween costumes, like the accessories, like masks and ears and tails and stuff like that. So it's starting to pick up a little bit around here, so I might not have time to do videos for a little while, because after Halloween then I have Christmas, which isn't as busy as Halloween, but still pretty busy, so I have to devote a lot of time to that. But I'm thinking I might do the summer sling bag. Last I checked, I couldn't find a video on that one that someone else had done. I'm trying to do videos for bags that don't already have them. So I think I might do the summer sling bag next, and I already have everything cut out. I just need to fuse the interfacing, and that one will be ready to go. And that's a lot simpler of a bag, and will take significantly less time to show you guys how to make. All right, so that's what it looks like. I'm going to sew this. We're almost done. Actually just gonna flip it around like this. Not even break stitching. Alright, that is the end of the sewing portion of this bag. I thought this would be a shorter video than normal. It's already 40 minutes. Alright, but the good news is the only thing we've got left to do is attach these handles to the bag, and that's it. So, it's a little twisty and wavy, but I'm just going to try to stretch it out. Looks a little better. Okay, so anyway, the next step is to fold this in half, because we need two handles. So, fold it in half, cut it. Simple, simple. Now we have two. Alright, so we're going to grab our bag. Oops. Alright, and then we're going to install our rivets. Now the ones that you'd buy at, say, Joann's, and I think that's where these are from, they're really old, they come with this little tool. Yeah, here's the other part of it. Sometimes the tools look like this. So there'll be a kit, and then there'll be a refill. So just make sure you're buying the right one, if that's where you're getting your rivets. Alright, so I'm gonna try to use the press because I don't feel like potentially hammering my fingers or whatever on live video. So I'm gonna try to use the press first, and if not, you might see me hammer my hand. Alright, I'm just looking for the caps in here. Oh crap, I don't see them, unless it's these, oops, tiny ones. I think they are. Oh yeah, they're very tiny. Okay. Alright, so let me get those out. It looks like I had bigger ones in here too, I guess they're all gone. Alright, well, we're using tiny ones. Alright, oops. There, that's 4. Alright, put these aside. Alright. Oh, thank you. Alright, so we have to make sure we don't twist the handle when we're installing it and everything's facing the right way. If you're using, say, a printed fabric, then you would want to look and see which side of it you like better. That's going to be more visible. This is obviously not a print, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to push it through like this. And again, in the instructions, they have you fold this over a 1/2 inch, press, and fold it over 3/4 of an inch. And as you can see, if I did that, it's like a dozen layers of vinyl. So you can't do that. If you're using fabric, that would be a viable option for you, but I'm not. So this is what I'm doing. So I'm just folding it over one time. Right, and I need to punch my holes. I'm actually going to punch from the outside this time because this is going to be the visible side. Alright. And since there's two really close to each other, I'm going to have to be a little more deliberate when I punch the other hole to make sure everything is symmetrical. Alright, so since this is a single cap, we want this side to not be as visible, so I'm kind of pushing it all through here. There we go. And putting this teeny tiny little cap on the top. Alright, let me move these other rivets aside. There we go. And I need to go get my press again. Okay. This is going to be a bit of a risk because I don't think I've ever used my cam press to do these non-cam rivets, but let's see. Holy crap, that was hard. Oh yay, it looks good. Alright, let me show you. So that is almost centered, and then on the back you can see that's what a single cap rivet looks like. So it doesn't look as good, but as you can see on the bag here, nobody's gonna see the back of it, so it doesn't matter. Alright, so now gotta make sure we don't twist this when we're putting on the other side. Alright, there we go. Folding that over. Ooh. This is what it's gonna look like when it's done. How exciting. Alright, we gotta grab our hole punch. And this time we gotta try our best to make this look as symmetrical as we can. So it's kind of a focal point. Measuring would probably be the smarter way to do this, but here I am. Alright, there we go. Okay, got the next rivet. I'm very happy that the cam press works with these are Dritz brand, by the way. They appear to work fine with the Dritz rivets. That sounds funny. Okay, all right, so same thing as before, make sure it's all lined up straight, and then press really hard. Oh my gosh. Okay, good, this one looks all right as well. They look almost symmetrical. It's enough that the casual person won't notice. It'll look symmetrical to anyone just looking at the bag, and plus this fabric is more the focal point, so this is what's gonna get people's attention and the overall style. All right, so now we just have the second handle to put on, and this whole bag is done. Very exciting. So it will have taken me 5 hours of sewing, plus the time it took me to cut out all the fabrics and fuse the interfacing, which I might have recorded somewhere, but I don't remember. But that was probably another hour. All right, so we're gonna punch this. Okay. All right, it's good so far. Let's put in this post. All right, and we've got a cap. All right. Make sure it's centered again. All right, pretty good. There we go, last one. As I'm pressing down on this snap rivet press, I keep thinking like if one of those American Ninja Warrior athletes were doing this, it would just be like 1 second and it's done, like it's nothing. All right, looks okay. Right, we're done with our hole punching. Just got this one last rivet. Ooh, I'm excited. I'm gonna have to tag the store I bought this comic print fabric from on Instagram. It's a store called Fabric Smart, and they are in Gulfport, Florida. Oh my gosh. You see what I did? I twisted the handle. Oh my god. All right. Crap. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out how to remove that and redo it, but I'm not gonna do it on camera. All right, so it's one of the pitfalls of live videos, I guess. Fortunately, my husband has a bunch of tools out in the garage, and he's had to undo rivets for me before. Gosh. Oh boy. All right, well, anyway, we're done. Very excited. Look at that. So if you look at it from this side, it looks very delightful. This side's a little twisted. Well, if I'm holding it, you can't really tell. But yeah, I'm gonna have to switch that around. I think I have one extra rivet, so lucky me, yay. But anyway, so here we go. Thank you. That's very nice of you guys. I appreciate you sticking around and watching my goofy sewing video. All right, so yeah, to recap, Swoon Maisie, this is the lining. I actually haven't finished attaching it. Oh, thanks, Angela and Glenn. Um, but I think I'm gonna do that later. Oh, I don't know what you're saying, but it's got hearts, so I'm gonna assume it's a compliment. Thank you. And then here's a little zipper pocket inside. And we've got our zipper and our removable cap. So there you go. Well, hopefully this was helpful to you. Hopefully you got some new tips here, even if you don't make the exact bag. Hopefully you learned something that you can apply to other sewing. Let me get my face in the shot here. This camera stuff is so weird. But anyway, but yeah, so hopefully I'll see you guys soon. I'm not sure when I'm gonna have time to post another video, so if you don't hear from me for a while, everything's cool. I'm just really busy with my shop. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. If you have any suggestions or requests or anything like that, you can put them in the comments below. As far as bag tutorials, I do want to add real quick. You generally need the permission of the pattern designer to do the tutorials, because some of them actually, well, it's for one thing, it's their artistic, their property. If they don't want someone to do a tutorial, that's their right, is because it's their product. But some people, like Sew Sweetness, the owner Sarah Lawson, she does videos of her on her own for her bags, and she sells them as like little add-ons with the patterns. So I'm not even going to ask her. Obviously, she doesn't want other people doing videos, because that would interfere with her business and ability to make a living. Blue Calla, I know she does videos. I don't know if she allows other people to. I know she has in the past, but I might reach out to her, because I have a couple of her bags all cut out and ready to go, and they are wonderful patterns. So good. If you check out my Instagram, it's Shop Orange Blossoms. I post on there occasionally. I posted all my bags on there. They're sporadic, but you can scroll through if you're not interested in my embroidery stuff that I do, like my masks and things. So there's that. So anyway, I think it covers everything. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Be sure to click on the little like button below, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this if you have any other crafty sewing friends. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye.